Hello, hello, hello. Hey, this is Rosa. Hopefully, your favorite real estate broker, my friends. All right, my friends. So, we have a lot to talk about. I'm excited about things. I'm excited to help you every step of the way with your real estate needs. You know, I help people with real estate, buying, selling, leasing, renting. I help people with credit repair. So if you're looking to get to the next step and you can't do it for one reason or another, then maybe credit repair is the way to go. And also in the state of Connecticut, I am the founder and the instructor for an approved state of Connecticut real estate school. So if you're looking to do something like that, pre-licensing class is what we offer. But today, one of the things I want to talk about, which sometimes people forget about this whole thing, and I think it's very, very important, and that is being a powerful negotiator, right? There's emails being thrown around, texts thrown around. Oh, just offer this, offer that, or accept this, or go back with this. And it's almost like sometimes people want you, as the real estate agent, to be a deli order taker. Like, hey, give me a half a pound of cabacol. You know what I mean? Give me a pound of mortadella. And then you're supposed to just go and get them the pound of mortadella, right? Well, really, if you think about it, it's a lot more than that. And I want you to know that when you're working with an excellent agent like myself, or like, someone who's maybe in your area, and, I have a nationwide network. So you might be in California, might be in Florida, Texas, Arizona, wherever you are. If you need some help, let me know, because I have a nationwide network, a bunch of colleagues that could possibly help you, someone that we can trust. But let's getting back to the power of negotiating. So when you're negotiating your home, it doesn't have to be intimidating, especially if you are working with a real estate agent that you know is looking out for you, that you can trust, and that cares about you. And so by learning how real estate negotiations work and how to apply some of these proven techniques that we're going to talk about, you can get the price you want from the buyers or maybe the sellers, depending on your particular situation. I'm a little bit more focused on the sellers here when we're talking about this particular class, but we could talk about buyers as well. So know more than your buyer or your seller, depending on the scenario, right? So there's two, that's right, you counted them, two major elements of negotiation. And the two are, and if anybody knows them, put them in the comments below. I'd love to see that. But motivation and skill. So again, what are we talking about? Motivation and skill. All right. So let's talk a little bit about those two things. Well, no, number one, a motivated buyer, they want the best deal. And you, the seller, what do you want? Well, of course, you want the best price. Who doesn't want the best price? Yeah, let's get the best price. All right. The two elements, they have somebody put here fire and water. I love it. Yep. But when we're talking about real estate negotiating, we're talking about motivation and skill. Okay. So you want the best deal, of course, and they want the best deal. A motivated, a skilled negotiator is an expert at working under the pressures of what? Competition, right? We need to know, well, how much competition is there? If there's a lot of competition, you might need to like scale back a little bit. You might need to understand that, hey, there's a lot of competition. That's why everybody in the Northeast, they're stuck on, oh, let me wait to put my home on the market in the spring. And they might think it's salesperson baloney, but it's really not. I tell them, listen, you don't want to wait for the spring. You wait for the spring, you're going to have more competition. Like right now, here, it's January 9th. Right now, there's not a lot of competition out there. So if you're thinking about selling, there is not a lot of competition. This is a great opportunity for you. Time. How much time do you have? If you're one of those sellers that you're saying, well, let's put it on the market and we'll just see how it goes. We'll check it out, right? And thanks, Rob Rax. This is great advice, and I appreciate you, Julia, for liking this this live. If you have all kinds of time in the world, well, you can be a stronger negotiator. But what if you found the perfect house that you want to buy, and here you are? You need to sell your property to buy that property. See, you don't have a lot of time. You might be under a clause with a contingency that you have to sell your property. So you don't have that time. What if you're a buyer and you're under a lease right now, right? And you know that your lease is going to expire in 2 months, in 60 days. You might not have enough time in order to negotiate from a strong standpoint. So competition is number one. Write it down. Want to be a strong negotiator? Time is number two. Number three, information. How much information do you have? Is your real estate professional sharing that information with you? Or are you just going on one of these websites, one of these online sites, thinking that you kind of know all this stuff? Well, I can promise you that these sites are not going to give you enough. Why not go with a professional that's going to give you that information? And then lastly, being able to communicate for you. Someone who's going to be able to speak for you, who's not necessarily going to get all the emotions involved, who's going to be able to put something together that you're going to want. So under the pressures of competition, time, information, and communication. So let's talk about, there you go, Rob Rax. Now, what motivates a seller? What's motivating a seller? Time on the market. Right? Everybody gets nervous if you're selling your property and it's been on the market for a long time. Right? And on the other side, as a buyer, you might look at a property like, hey, time on the market. This thing's been on the market for 167 days. I'm going to get the best deal. I'm going to kill it. Well, I can promise you that there are some sellers out there that they're just hardcore. They want their price. And they don't care about time in the market. So don't make those assumptions because it could be wrong. What else motivates a seller? Relocation, right? Where are they going to relocate to? Do they have a place that they want to go to, that they need to go to? Or are they kind of just up in the air on things? So that might be important. The pressures of maintenance and upkeep. Here we are. We're during the winter months here in the Northeast. And you know what? Not looking forward to get out there and do that snow shoveling and plowing and go out there to the sidewalks and the driveway when it's snowing outside. So even just keeping up that way. Or how about the upkeep of keeping that heat up high enough so that there's no pipes that get frosted, that get frozen. And then you run into even more problems, God forbid. Okay? And lastly, what motivates a seller? Emotional and mental stress, especially during a divorce. So if someone's going through a divorce, they're going through a separation, they're going through hard times. It could be that maybe they lost their job, maybe the taxes are due, the insurance is due, the flood insurance is due, and you know what? They just can't take it anymore. They've had enough of it. And so that motivates a seller. So time on the market motivates a seller. Relocation motivates a seller. Pressures of maintenance and upkeep motivates a seller. And then lastly, emotional and mental stress. Okay. So again, know what motivates the other party, what motivates a buyer, what are they looking to do? Now, we know that when a home is sold, it's a multifaceted process. There's a lot of different things going on, and you have to avoid allowing emotions to overpower the situation to the point where you might even settle for a lower price. Maybe it comes to that point that you just can't take it anymore. Your emotions have got the best of you, and you're just like, hey, you're worrying about paying the mortgage while the home sits on the market for 6 months. That doesn't sound like fun. Or having to move out of state, right? And not knowing exactly where you're going and what you're going to do. That doesn't sound like fun either. So, and even maintaining that home doesn't sound like fun. So, knowledgeable buyers, what are they going to do? They're going to know those things and they're going to push it to the limit to get the price that they want. You see, what I'm doing here in this video is I'm giving you a lot of little secrets on how to be the strong negotiator. If you were to hire a different agent here in Connecticut, you might even have to teach that person these things, which would be a sorry situation because I know this stuff. I've been doing it over 20 something years. And I'm an expert here in making it happen for you here in Connecticut. But if you're from another state, you might want to learn these items, right? You might want to learn these points so that you can get to where you want to be and be able to help yourself the most way possible. All right. So when the competitive pressure is on, what do you do when that competitive pressure is on? And thank you so much for joining us. Quite a few people here, definitely appreciative. And any comments you might have, put it out there because what we're talking right now about is the power of negotiating. So when the competitive pressure is on, when you're facing that informed buyer, remember that the party with the most options will win the negotiation. Okay, the party with the most options, they're going to win it. The buyer may have researched your home's history on the market. Right? Maybe they went to the some of these websites that they see this stuff. If you have located, he or she might assume that you're desperate and will haggle you for a lower price. On the flip side, maybe the buyer thought you had three other offers, and that you're looking for higher offers. Right? You see, it's not that you want to be dishonest, but what are they perceiving about you and your particular home? What are they perceiving? What are their senses telling them about the options that you have? Because perceptions, and we talk about negotiating, right? The power of negotiating. Bring it in. Share this live with other people who want to learn about the power of negotiating, not only for real estate, but for other things. Perceptions have a profound influence in negotiations. What are the perceptions, right? If an interested buyer believes that you've rejected offers that were higher, you might have the upper hand. Who doesn't love that, right? On that flip side, the buyer may inform you of interest in other homes, and you might think, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose this buyer, right? So one of the keys to being a powerful negotiator, right? And if you know some of these, put them in the comments. Give me some likes. I definitely appreciate it. And even share this live with others. One of the keys is to stay calm, stay focused so that you don't have costly mistakes. If you don't know the other party's motivations, if you're exposing yours too quick, if you're giving the perception that you're desperate, you're out of luck, my friend. You are not going to get the most money possible for your particular property. Or on the buyer's side, what are you going to do? You're going to spend more for that property. I mean, straight up, very, very, very transparently, there are a lot of moments when we're working with a buyer and they're coming upon a home, and the truth of the matter is they have 9 other offers. And still to this day, we have buyers that we tell them, listen, you're in a very competitive price range. They have 9 other offers, and maybe the buyers are not motivated enough to give them the price that seller's looking for, and they end up losing it, and then they get mad. Well, how come I didn't get the house? You did not compete. You decided to put something out there that was not competitive. I mean, come on. If you have a home that's listed for $250,000, they tell you they have 9 other offers, and you make an offer for $240,000, are you going to get the home? Are you going to get the offer signed? I highly doubt it, right? So again, we're talking about, for those who are just joining, we're talking about the power of negotiating. So please, if you will, maybe share this live with others, and it will help them learn about the power of negotiating. Here's another point, the next point about the power of negotiating. Let time be on your side. That's right. When you are under a time pressure, it's very evident. I mean, think about car auctions or any kind of antique auctions, any kind of auctions. Think about construction job bids. Think about car sales, right? They know that the faster they push the time, you only have this amount of time to answer. Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose it. You see, that's what makes people get afraid. What is it? What do they call it? FOMO? FOMO, right? Who knows FOMO? Put it in the comments if you know it. The fear of missing out. Oh my gosh. In the United States in 2023, FOMO? Oh my gosh. Everybody's afraid they're going to miss out on something. I mean, give me some likes for that one. If you don't agree with me on that, I don't know what you're going to do. So that's why time is a very, very powerful negotiation tool. You see, we might advise buyers that a seller under pressure will provide the best bargain. Once in a while, we call up the seller's agent. Hey, why are they selling? Can you let me know why they're selling? And I can tell you, and I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth. There's a lot of other real estate agents. We call them up. Hey, tell us why the seller is selling. Oh, they're selling because their mom is sick in Florida and they want to get down there as soon as possible. Oh, do they have any other offers? No, not right now. So what is that agent telling us? That agent is pretty much throwing their client under the bus. Because why am I, if they don't have any other offers and they're under the pressure of time, am I going to advise my buyer to offer so much more money at or above the asking price? I highly doubt it. You see, I would be telling my buyer, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what I heard. What do you think? Do you want to come in under the asking price? How bad do you want the house? Right? Or if a buyer knows a seller is in foreclosure and they have to sell before losing the property. Oh, do we see those sorts of things? Well, if you're a good enough buyer's agent, you might go on certain websites, and depending on your state, and look to see, is this property going under foreclosure? I see that it was under pre-foreclosure. There was some missed mortgage payments. Right? Now, if your buyer agent doesn't know how to do that, there's a problem there. And you have to think about that point, right? So if you know the seller is under a time constraint, you can use that knowledge to make low ball offers. Or your buyer might just play it cool, not return calls really quickly, and maybe try to make the seller desperate. You see, looking for those time-sensitive situations, that's who's going to be able to make out better in the long run. The power of negotiating is time. How savvy can you get? What are the pressure tactics that you can use, right? And who is too eager and is showing that eager, because that's the perception that other people have, right? Some buyers, they might even play the waiting game, right? And this is also a very powerful tool in negotiating, right? In price negotiations, because from a buyer's perspective, the longer the house has been on the market, the more flexible the seller will be. And basically the same time as the longer you spend negotiating the sale, right? You're working on it. You don't give in right away on every little thing, right? It's always a give and it's a take. You know, if you can't take a little bit, why give more, right? I mean, this is real life stuff, right? So if the buyers prolong the time spent, maybe they're working on the contingencies, maybe they're working on the dates. Now this seller is totally into this. This seller's already making plans on where they're moving to. This seller is getting excited about selling their commercial property so that they can buy another property, right? And so the longer they spend negotiating, the more likely that buyer's going to get the price they want. Okay. Along with time, like we've been talking about, and I think this is helping you. And if it isn't, or if you have questions, please put them in the comments here. We're talking about the power of negotiating. We're kind of focusing on buyers and sellers in real estate, right? And we're talking about time right now. The buyer will invest time with you to create relationships, trust, willingness. You see, how many times, especially when I'm selling a commercial property and even residential, do I find out that a buyer went and spoke to the seller directly? I mean, now, for some agents, that might be a scary point because they might feel insecure about that. I don't, because I know that I have my client knowledgeable. I'm informing them. I'm keeping them in the loop every step of the way. And who doesn't love that, right? So buyers, a lot of times, they're going to try to create a relationship with that seller. They're going to try to have that seller agree to terms with them right then and there and start talking, right? So the advantage of time is that they might not walk away empty-handed after gaining your trust, right? They want to have patience, right? So that you can maintain you want to have patience so that you can maintain your position on terms and price and make it a formal professional agreement. I mean, does that sound good? Give me some likes on that. Who doesn't want to make it as smooth as possible, professional agreement that's not going to be pressuring people? And if you like what you're hearing, if you like some of these ideas, then please share this live with others right now. All right, we talked a lot about time. Let's talk about knowledge, information. Information is one of the biggest keys to real estate negotiations. The more information the buyer can get for you, the more pressure you're going to face. I could tell you more often than not, a lot of real estate agents, they will get frustrated with me when I am working for a seller because they're not going to get a lot of information from me. You see, they're going to get information to help me promote it. I'm going to try to lead them to get the most money possible in the right time frame for my seller, but they're not going to know so easily, why is my seller selling? How much money do they owe on the mortgage? Are they behind on any payments? Right? That's not for me to share with them. And why would I share it with them? Because the more knowledgeable they get, right, the more pressure ultimately we're going to face. The more knowledge will overpower the less informed at the bargaining table. The more insight the buyer has into your motivation to sell, the more powerful he or she is at negotiating. So it's as simple as, don't be telling people your business so quick. The good agents are the ones that call and try to get more information to give to their clients. You see, and I'm doing the opposite, right? We don't want to avoid questions. We don't want to be unfriendly. We want to be friendly. We want to be nice. We want to be interested in having a transaction get together because that's ultimately why that seller hired you, right? However, remember, this is a professional transaction between strangers. And don't be real forthcoming. Don't be unnecessarily forthcoming, right? Can I have a chair for that? Don't be unnecessarily forthcoming, Okay. Now, let's keep on going, my friends. Let's talk a little bit more about knowledge. So when the buyer asks, well, what it might appear to be a tough question, right, and is looking for direct answers and your reactions, what are you going to do? Avoid anxiousness. See the power of negotiating. Avoid anxiousness. Everything is cool. Everything is smooth. Everything is going as planned. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's been on the market for 200 days because the seller has gotten a lot of activity and they've gotten some offers, but they don't really, they're not at the level of what the seller believes the property is worth. And this is why the seller believes the property is worth at this level. This is how much he or she charges for rents. This is what they've put into it for improvements. You see, have a friendly, smooth, ready and waiting answer for them. Don't be stumbling. Don't have someone asking you questions. Well, they're selling because because they need to sell quick, and oh yeah, I know it's been 200 days because they haven't gotten a lot of showings and we priced it too high. I mean, who says that stuff? Guess what? Other agents say that stuff, so you have to be careful. Choose that agent and work with someone, including yourself, if you get involved in transactions or in discussions about your transaction. Be careful what you say. Avoid anxiousness. Avoid that pressure. So a simple but effective technique for handling a tough question, hear me out, like it, without giving out information, is to answer with another question. So let's say if you're asked if your home has been on the has been on the market long, simply answer, not long. Then calmly ask the buyer or the shoppers, how long have they been looking? Oh, it hasn't been that long. How long have you been looking? You see, now their answers may empower you with information about their own stress points. Okay? When asked why you're selling, I answer with vague reasons. Again, turning the tables, asking them the same question. To learn if you have any time constraints, a buyer might want to know, well, how soon do you want to move? Tell them you're flexible. Hey, we're flexible on selling the property, right? Even if you want to sell immediately, we're flexible, right? How soon do you want to move? Because we're pretty flexible. Oh, you want to move in 3 weeks? We could probably do that. Oh, you want to move in 3 months? Maybe. Let's think about it. What are the terms? You see? And thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your likes. I appreciate you sharing this live. And again, what we're talking about, for those of you that have stuck it out with me, is the power of negotiating. We're focusing on buyers and sellers. And right now we're talking about knowledge, and we're talking about directing questions back to the other party. So directing questions back to the other party, power of negotiating, maintains your control of what information is shared, right? Because here's a very interesting point. What someone paid for the house, that has no bearing on the current market value, especially if it's been a while. So again, what you paid for your house does not have a bearing on the current market value, unless maybe you bought it in the last 3 or 6 months or a year. That probably does. But after that, I mean, most people, they've owned their property for a while, right? Most people, they've made some improvements, and it doesn't matter how much they bought the house for in 2014. Does that make sense to everyone? And so please, give me some likes or ask me questions. I'm looking at some of the comments here, and I'm definitely more than happy to answer any questions that come up. And I appreciate with many of your comments and joining us and so forth. So, facing questions on the pricing of your home should not be difficult if you have put serious thought into your asking price. You see, There are some people that they want to question you as to why you're selling it at this price. And you don't necessarily, I mean, if we show them comparables, that's usually pretty helpful. If we have competitive offers, if they want to know, well, where are you with these other offers? Do you have any other offers right now? We don't want to say necessarily, I mean, if the truth is right now we don't have an offer, we don't. But we don't have to be specific about every little thing. I mean, a lot of times I get offers on homes within 1 or 2 days, even just by texting or voicemails or phone calls. And then I call up the person back, the other party back, to discuss it and make sure it makes sense. And usually, and we're talking like 90 something percent of the time, I'm going to tell that buyer, hey, with my seller's permission, I'm going to tell that buyer, we needed something in writing, and we need proof of funds, or we need a pre-qualification letter if you're getting a mortgage. Because you see, buyers are going to try to get you locked in any little way that they can, right? And if you tell them that you're willing to accept this price, they're going to go for it 100 miles an hour. Or sometimes they're just trying to get you down, down, down. We even found out once for a commercial property in Hartford that there were related parties making different lowball offers to try to get us down on what we thought our baseline was, right? So if we priced the property here because that's how much we thought it was, we found out somebody made an offer at this price, it was about 30% lower. And then all of a sudden it was weird because 2 days later, we got another offer from somebody else that was like 32% lower. And then another offer 28% lower. And then the person's like, well, you have other offers, I heard. How much are they going for? Because that will, he gave me the hint in my mind. Well, that should tell you how much the property is worth. So I said to him, who told you we have other offers? I'm the listing agent. Did you talk to the seller? Because he hasn't told me that anyone spoke with him. No, I know you got other offers. Who told you we have other offers? Who told you that those other offers are going to create a lowered price range of what we're looking to do? You see? So that's the craziness about negotiating and what some people will do. Right? So when you keep this objective in mind, that answering questions thoughtfully but vaguely without revealing much will help you. Manage your responses by asking them questions in return will work well as well. And then always attempt to get the other party to reveal their thoughts. Okay? So that's really where I wanted to leave it for today. I wanted to give you some tips on how to be a power negotiator, how to make sure you're working from the best side as far as not being intimidated, not worrying about pressure, not worrying about stress, and you getting the best deal possible. All right. So I hope you're having the start of an amazing week. I want to say God bless you. Have an awesome week. We'll talk to you soon. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions. And this is Rob Rosa. Hopefully your favorite real estate broker. Signing out, my friends. We'll talk to you later. Bye.